Hello, this is Baron von Richthofen, and I'm going to show you a kind of mini guide for Blitzcrank. I really just recorded one of my ranked games earlier, and I am doing Jungle Blitz, so I will kind of show you. And basically, Jungle Blitz, as a champion, he's not a very strong jungler. He kind of struggles on his first clear, but he clears it, you know, okay. He can do a decent job of it. But he snowballs very well, and once he gets some items, particularly Madreds, and then into a Wriggles, he will be able to jungle very effectively. The real strength of Jungle Blitzcrank is that he is going to be very effective in ganks, and then later on in team fights. You know, when you have Blitzcrank on your team, he is kind of that game-changing champion. You could be down, but really just any sort of, any sort of pull or any sort of mistake by your enemy, you can very quickly capitalize on it. And all of a sudden, you're in a 4v5 situation, your team just has a really easy job of it. So, there's basically two different ways that I think you can clear the jungle with Blitzcrank. And, you know, like most junglers, you have a standard jungle route with cloth armor, which I am using here, but I tend to prefer to use vampiric scepter and actually start off at all the small camps. And now, for a vampiric scepter route, you would primarily use attack speed. You're definitely going DPS, kind of runes and masteries. And it will be a little bit easier of a jungle, but the cloth armor does allow you to get your first couple of levels a little bit faster. So the one issue with cloth armor that you need to make sure, and I did get a really good pull from my team, is that you want to not use your shield before you get to Blizzard. That's imperative. You really, because he's not a very strong jungler, and he's not very fast, you're going to take a lot of damage, and you need that shield up in order to complete the lizard buff, and if it's not up, then you won't be able to. So you do see here I am taking a lot of damage, and it's not a very fast jungle clear. I'm just now getting to my lizard buff at 330, so I'll clear it around 430 or something like that. It's pretty slow. Whereas if you look at a champion like Udyr would have cleaned his entire jungle by now. He would be done his red, and he would be done his golems. So right off the bat, you see I'm getting very low, and will use the shield. They did CV me, so I do need to be careful, but I don't really have much room for error, so I'm just going to finish it. I am going to pop into the brush here and make sure I'm not getting ganked so I can flash away, but it's a very dangerous jungle early on. And the enemy jungler is Trundle, who is a significantly faster jungle, so that does hurt me some. And you do see that Trundle has already completed his entire camp, his entire jungle, and he is ganking mid. And I'm low health. There's not a whole lot that I can do about it. So right off the bat, you can see how much faster of a jungler he is, and I can't really contribute here. I need to go back to base. I will stick around to see if an opportunity opens itself up, or if the enemy's careless. So you will see that the Scion actually does a fantastic job of coming down to kind of bring this LeBlanc into a poor situation. She did come too far. And so we do get first blood, and then with the heal from Soraka, I will be able to continue my jungle for a little bit and get level 4. Leveling abilities, you always want to start off with your pop-up, and you are definitely going to want to pull. The pop-up does a couple of things. One, it's a low cooldown, low mana cost ability, and it disables the creeps. So when you get a pull, the pop-up helps to delay those creeps from resetting, so you get a little bit more damage off. And it works very well with your damage, and I do run attack damage, runes, and masteries in this build because it synergizes well with the knock-up and allows me to clear the creeps a little bit faster. I am coming down bottom for a gank, and you do want to try and close the gap as Blitzcrank before you use your pulls. So there you see I get as close as possible. Unfortunately, I probably could have come a little bit sooner, so the creeps were there, and I had to aim my pull so that it wouldn't hit the creeps. But fortunately, because of the first blood, I did get an assist on it. I do have a Madreds, and that allows me to snowball a little bit. I do get a Razor, but it's still going to be an exceedingly difficult jungle clear. You will notice I am 2 levels behind Trundle. I did have a failed gank attempt in that time period, which slowed me down some. And really, a lot of junglers, when you have kind of a slow start, you tend to want to sit in the jungle and farm and catch yourself up, and move to lanes when they're open and push lanes to catch yourself up. But junglers Jungle Blitzcrank doesn't farm particularly well and doesn't clear the camps particularly well, so he really has a difficult job of getting into the game and becoming an active participant if he falls behind early. So I will be trying to catch up here and get some items. Once you have Wriggles and your finished boots on Blitzcrank, you will be good to go. But I will have to recall after I clear this jungle camp. I'm hitting the creeps as they're spawning, which will help me. But it is definitely a slow jungle, and I had made it slower by a couple of mistakes, and then also some unsuccessful ganks early on. On this next back, I will have enough money to choose between either Wriggles or Boots. Now, I haven't been as active in the game as I would like, and getting the kills I would like to really help us out. So, as a jungler, you really kind of have to make a decision. Blitzcrank doesn't jungle very well, but once he has Wriggles, he can jungle just as effectively as any jungler, really. Wriggles is a very easy item to jungle with. But here you see I do go for the boots instead, so that I can be a little more effective in the game and help my team out. You know, Wriggles really would just delay this game even more for me and not allow me to actively participate, and I can't let the enemy team take hold of this game while I'm kind of sitting there trying to catch up. So Boots will allow me to be more aggressive in ganks, which is already Blitzcrank's strength, so I am playing to the strength. I did ward up in the enemy jungle. Warding is definitely important. I haven't been warding as much as I could have been. But the ward will let me know when the jungler is coming, and I do have a great gank opportunity. Blitzcrank has, great movement speed, great disables, and great bursts. So you see, we take down Garen, who's a pretty tanky character, very quickly, and I will be transitioning towards bottom, where you will see there's also great tower diving capabilities for Blitzcrank. I am not tanking this tower, but with the damage, I will flash in, get the burst from the ultimate and the silence, and help my team pick up some kills. And then Blitzcrank's pretty strong at pushing down towers. So whenever you get kills, you definitely want to look to push down some towers and push very aggressively. Trundle is being very careless and coming over here, and so I will pop him up and try and do as much damage as possible. We will get the kill on Trundle. Unfortunately, Garen is able to get the kill onto Talon, but we will pick up the kill onto Garen as well. And now, once again, there's an opportunity for me. I know that we had just beaten bot lane, and we had just killed their jungler and gotten a couple of kills, so their blue buff is going to be safe for me to take. I'll come up, take the blue buff, always look for opportunities, and, take advantage of them. But when I go back after this blue buff, I will have Wriggles, and I will be able to buy my boots. Now, I go for mobility boots as Blitzcrank primarily because of the great effect that it has on ganking potential. But if you're starting to move into a team fight kind of area of the game, then you definitely want to consider Merc Treads. If they have a lot of disables, it'll make you a little bit tankier and allow you to be more upfront. Here we are taking a dragon opportunity, and Trundle, once again, we have some great single target disables. We are able to pick up the kill onto Trundle. Sion doing a fantastic job teleporting down to help out the team. But, always look for opportunities. You want to be able to dragon as fast as possible. That was a very late dragon. And that's one of the issues with Jungle Blitzcrank. He does not have very good dragon control. He needs at least Wriggles and I would say level 7 with the team, but in order to do it by himself, he's really looking at like level 9. If you have Madreds and you have a team with you, then, and especially with the Soraka, if you have an opportunity, you could take Dragon at level 5 or something. It's definitely a possibility. But he is a pretty weak Dragoner, so this is a very late Dragon for this game. Fortunately, the wards do give us good Dragon control, and we will take advantage of that. After Dragon, we were able to push down mid, like I said, once again, pushing aggressively, and we do have a good advantage in this game right now. So I will try and continue to push aggressively with my team. Talon's going to get some damage on top. I'm just going to take some creeps to continue farming when I can, and then I'll move up and push the tower, and hopefully catch someone by surprise. I do have vision with that ward, and I do see that Garen is coming up to defend this tower, as expected. So we will be able to pick up a very easy kill onto Garen here, and then try and push this tower down. Unfortunately, the enemy does come for the tower, so we will have to back out. But by pushing aggressively, it does a couple of things. The enemy, they start having to make a decision of what lane they want to defend, and unfortunately they are being too aggressive here, once again taking advantage of the enemy's mistakes, which is what Blitzcrank is all about. It's not a fancy pull. I'm not getting, you know, the greatest hook shots through creep waves. It's all about whether or not you can get you know, the simple pulls when the enemy is making a mistake, and getting the pop-ups when the enemy is making a mistake. And that's why primarily you're going to want to try and close the gap with your overdrive. That's your W ability. It gives you fantastic movement speed to close the gap very quickly and allow you to get in range to more effectively pull the enemy. And a lot of times you can kind of force the enemy into positions where you will have an easy pull. My team's being a little bit too aggressive here, pushing down the tower. I probably should have stayed with them, but I will come back in, pick up this kill with a flash and pop up onto Vayne, which makes Blitzcrank a very effective anti-carry. The ability to target down the enemy, you know, DPS or the enemy casters. He does have the disables and he has the silence, which really disrupts a lot of, you know, individuals, and that's what Blitzcrank's all about. He's all about disruption. He has 2 disables and he has a silence, so you will see that with that silence from Talon, I will come over and try and pick up the kill onto LeBlanc. Unfortunately, she just barely survives. I probably could have done another hit on her, but this will allow Talon to kind of run down the enemy team here and pick up a couple of kills for himself. Coming on the next item build, you really need to make a decision. You know, the standard items, you want to get Wriggles and you want to get your boots as fast as possible. But then you need to make a decision on where you're looking to go. And when you're doing well and the enemy isn't really having success killing you, as is the case in this game, you want to kind of continue building that damage so you can have effective damage output in team fights. Now, Sheen synergizes particularly well with Blitzcrank, and so I will be working towards a Triforce, which will give me some fantastic DPS. Here we're coming, and I don't want to be tanking this tower. Scion will take it with his shield, but once again, just great single target disable. We will pick up this kill on the Taric, and then continue to push very aggressively, which is very important. You always want to, if you are in the lead and have the advantage, you always want to look to push aggressively and try and win the game. And once again, Trundle being very careless, coming in, trying to defend the tower. Another opportunity, and Blitzcrank really capitalizes on his enemy's mistakes particularly effectively. We will recall here, but then we will resume pushing once we all come back, and that's definitely what you want to do. You don't want to let up the pressure on the enemy team. If the enemy is having, you know, a successful time with killing you, then you definitely are going to want to buy defensive items, and after you get Triforce, you will want to get more defensive items. You know, Heart of Gold is a fantastic early item on Blitzcrank. Since he doesn't farm particularly well, the gold provide, you know, helps him particularly well. But once you've finished the Triforce, if you are going the Triforce build, then some of the items you might want to look for are Banshee's Veil, so that you can be more aggressive and disruptive to the carries without people disabling you to kill you. You might look for a Force of Nature if you know, are particularly tanky and want to be able to have that extra movement speed and run around the team. And always look for aggressive pulls. As you can see, a couple of times, you know, they're not fancy pulls, they're not anything special, but when the enemy is in a poor position, you know, just a very quick decision. You have to make that decision to go in and be aggressive. So we will get a fast inhibitor and push towards the end of this game. We are going to kind of sit in their base some, and the game should be ending shortly. But that's basically Jungle Blitzcrank. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely let me know in the comments. I have another Blitzcrank video where I believe I went like 18-2. So that might be a little more exciting if you want me to post some highlights, or if you want some more information on how to play Blitzcrank, or guides for any other champions, definitely let me know. But the enemy will surrender shortly, and you know, just a fun game all around. Really, Blitzcrank's strength is taking advantage of the enemy's weaknesses, and we were able to do that all game as a team.